From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hello and welcome to Around Foxborough, the show where we learn about the people, places, and things that make Foxborough the gem of Norfolk County. My name is Mark Rivard, and I'm pleased to have as my guest today, Manuel Garcia-Baro. Welcome, Manuel.
Thank you for having me.
So you're, from what I understand, you're a composer, a pianist, and you live in Boston. I want to tell everybody a little bit about how you got into music and a little bit about yourself.
So, I started playing piano when I was 8 years old. And, from the beginning, I wanted to compose my own music. So that's maybe my first memories of doing my own music is like being 8, 9 years old. And I would ask my mom to help me write the music down because I didn't know how to do it. And from there, I just did that all my life. So it's just like my life is writing music, playing music, teaching music. Yeah, that's all I do.
And you're originally from Madrid?
Yeah, Madrid, Spain.
So when did you come over? Were you young?
Well, not that young, but it's 2010 when I came here. Yeah, I was already like 26. So I got this like really nice scholarship to study at Berkeley College of Music, and I came here with my wife. We were just like married a month before coming here, and I finished at Berkeley 2013, and I've been here ever since.
Excellent. So I was reading some of your bio. So apparently at age 12, you sang on a couple of CDs for Disney. So you're a singer too.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
That was a great experience. Like I was just in my regular music theory classes. Like we had this little choir in the school, and someone from Disney came to audition. Little kids, they needed like children choirs for a CD they were doing. Like they had Mickey Mouse and Goofy, and it was a really fun experience. And I actually bought my first computer with the money that I made from those CDs. So it was like
nice. Yeah. Your first real job.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
You could say it was a Mickey Mouse job, but still it was a job, right?
Yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. And being in the studio, with the headphones and microphones and all those things, it was a lot of fun. So
I'm sure you probably have a copy of that saved somewhere.
Yeah.
Nice. So you play classical piano, you do jazz, Latin, flamenco, all sorts?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Like my background, my training is in classical piano, but I studied some jazz, like 3-4 years of jazz, and I had a very nice Cuban teacher. So we did a lot of Latin music too. And then for like a year, I studied flamenco too. So I've done a little bit of everything. But what I know better is to classical music, like play classical music.
So you're teaching now, but you still do composing on the side. Is it half and half, or is it just full-time teaching and then when you have
teaching is maybe my main focus now, just because it's more reliable. And in composing it's really hard to like really keep a good schedule of gigs, but I try to compose as much as I can. So not half and half, but not really full-time teaching and then just a little bit of composing. I'm trying to get the composing to be more important. Yeah.
So a little bit about the teaching. So I can imagine with COVID-19 and all of this internet teaching that all the kids are going through, I assume you've had to make some changes to how you teach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have like 30 students. So the first thing and the hardest thing, I guess, was to organize all the lessons, like new schedules for everyone, like connecting with everyone, asking, like, we are going to do it in Zoom. Like some people wanted to do FaceTime or Skype. And I tried for the first week to do different platforms, but it was so hard. So just setting the classes to run at the beginning was really, really hard. And then, Zoom is great, but the sound when you play music is not the greatest thing. And so, yeah, one good thing about this is I get to see where the students play, like what instruments they have, because usually they come to class and you have this really nice grand piano in the studio, and that's great, and they say, no, but I can do this on my piano, and you were supposed to do that on your piano. That's not so hard. And then you see the piano they have at home, and it's like, okay, now I get it. So yeah, but yeah, lots of changes, and it's been also really good because I feel like for most kids, they don't have this kind of one-on-one interaction anymore because they don't get to see other people, and when they have the Zoom meetings for school, is all the school together, or so just having one-on-one lessons for like 30 minutes every week or an hour, I feel they really enjoy that too, so it's great.
Yeah, and they must feel a little bit more comfortable in a sense. I mean, yeah, they're not in the class, but they're at home on their, like you said, their piano, which they're more comfortable with because that's what they practice on all the time. When they're with you in the classroom, yes, they've got the piano there, but it's not theirs, and they're not as, and besides, they have all those eyes on them as opposed to just yours.
Yeah.
It must be different.
Yeah, and for most kids, I would say, especially for the older kids, they also have more free time now. Like school is not as time consuming as it used to be. So they are practicing a lot more, and they enjoy their lessons a lot more because they are learning a lot more on their own. They are improving a lot more. So it's been a really nice experience.
Yeah, they really have nowhere to go either. So it's a captive audience, a captive class. It's like, okay, do some homework. Well, oh no, I can't go anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
You got it, professor. Okay, I'm going to practice.
That's how it works.
So do you teach classical, or do you teach any other kind of styles, or is it just?
It's basically classical, and when they get to like 14, 15, they want to play pop, they want to play jazz, some kids, but the technique is mostly the same, and the good thing about classical music is being studied for such a long time that it's very easy to know, okay, you have to follow this path, and you're gonna get better. And if you try to do that with pop, it's harder. It's not so well structured. I don't know how to say this. There's no that academia, so.
Well, most of the piano players, keyboard players that I know, classical is the hardest to learn because it is so structured that once you've learned that, then it's easy to destructure and play other types of music.
Yeah, that's also true. Like if you learn classical first, going from classical to pop or jazz is not as hard as doing the other way around, Like if you are a jazz pianist and then you want to learn how to play classical, that's really hard. So,
yeah. You got to slow down a bit too. Quite a bit. So beyond school, I know you said you've done some composing, some scores. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, is there anything that we've seen or?
Yeah, I've been working for like the last 5 years. I've been working with a Boston company that is called Gratitude Sound, and they do a lot of TV advertising. And so I've done a spot for Samsonite that was like pretty big, national TV for like a year or two. So I'm pretty sure you've seen that. And I've done something for Blue Cross Blue Seal, Dunkin' Donuts. So yeah, some not super big things, but they've been on TV. So, yeah.
Oh, but that's great. I mean, that's the problem with commercials. I mean, you don't really know who does the background because they don't really have credits.
Yeah.
So, you have to say, hey, I did this. Really? Yeah, watch. I'll play it for you.
That's how it is. It's a really tough world too because there's so much competition. But when you get the gig, it's really well paid. So that's it has pros and cons.
And it's word of mouth too. Once people say, "Hey, Manuel did this for us." Manuel, really? Okay, well maybe we'll send him some work.
Yeah.
So give you some time when you're not teaching to make some more money.
Yeah, a lot more money than teaching. But yeah, the thing is usually it's a very fast turnaround. Like you have 2 days, 1 day, sometimes it's even a few hours. So you cannot really depend on that. It's like if you are lucky and you get one, that's great, but you have to do some more stable things too on the side,
Oh yeah, and it's also the love of teaching too, and passing on your knowledge to all these young minds. I mean, that's I know a lot of teachers too, and they say, if if I did it just for the money, then I'd be in trouble. You have to have a passion for it. You have to be able to want to give back, and that's why teachers have always been an inspiration to me, because they take a lot of their time just to pass on what they know, and that's most important.
Yeah, that's true. It's like right now we are doing in the school I work for, that's the Community Music Center of Boston. We have this big competition that usually happens in April, but it got postponed for obvious reasons. And we are doing it now online. So the students are just recording a video at home and sending it. And they just made the final. So it was like preliminary round, and then they go to the finals, and 5 of my students got to the finals. And they send you this email like, oh, I'm so happy I made it. And it's a really good feeling too.
They're happy, and you're back there going, yes.
Yeah.
It makes you even more, you're happy too, because like, my students did it. It worked. They learned, and they're succeeding. Makes you feel good.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe not as good as that big check from Dunkin' Donuts. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a different kind of good.
It's a different kind of, yeah, exactly. A different kind of happiness.
Yeah.
And I was also looking at your bio too, and it was very interesting. So you've actually done some scoring for some movies, some trailers. One in particular that I saw. There's a movie with Eric Roberts.
Yeah, it's a short film. It's not a whole movie. It's not a feature film. I scored that during the quarantine. So that's.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and it's a really nice project. I can't tell you a lot about it because it hasn't been released. So the director asked me please not to tell, because there's a big twist in the plot, and I can't tell anything about the twist. But it's a really nice movie, and Eric Roberts is a great actor. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to do that.
We can't see the trailer, can we?
Totally.
All right. How about if we show it now so everybody can hear some of your music?
Yeah.
Okay, let's show it now. Here it is. Wow, that's excellent.
Thank you.
Nice job. Yeah. Yeah, it must be, well, I'm not gonna say easy, because I love music. I'm a music fanatic, but I can't play a note. But it must be nice, because that's something you can do, like you said, during the quarantine while you're at home. You don't have to go out to a studio. I mean, music today, and I have friends who do this too, that you can just send things over in a file. You can do all the recording at home, as opposed to going into a studio, and you have somebody that can piece it together with whatever they need to piece it. It's so much easier with digital than it was in the old days with analog, running tape and splicing and doing mixing tracks and everything.
Yeah, everything is so much easier. And the sample libraries, when you record people and then you just can play from your keyboard, they are getting so good that it's not that you don't need live musicians anymore, but you can actually make very good music without live musicians. And I know I'm talking about something that is actually going against myself, but yeah, and like doing all this commercial work helped me develop that, because you don't have the time to call people and record people. It has to be for like tomorrow. So you get really good at doing everything in the box, right? So yeah, and if I had the time, and I would be so happy to go into a studio and record real people playing the instruments. But that wasn't impossible. It was impossible during quarantine, right? So
yeah, it's kind of hard. Even if you wanted to have somebody, if you want to do any kind of vocal arranging, It's kind of hard with a mask on, unless you're in a booth, surrounded by glass,
Yeah.
sanitized for your protection. But I mean, it looks like you have your own little home studio there. I mean,
Yeah.
a microphone, guitar, keyboard, so you can basically do whatever you need to do right in that room and not have to leave.
That's
It's amazing.
yeah. No, but it really sounds quite good already. Like you don't need that much more than what I have here. It's not maybe state of the art studio, but it's good. And if you listen to the trailer, right, it sounds
Yeah.
pretty realistic.
Yeah, and you don't need a giant mixing board. You have a computer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all done that way.
It's so immediate too. Like you can just sew stuff on the fly, like this short film that we just saw. I composed half of it in a Zoom meeting with the director because he had an idea and I wasn't really clear about what he wanted. So it was like we were exchanging emails all the time. And there was a moment where I said, why don't you just call me and tell me? And I got to the keys and I play and he was like, not that, but that and that. And then we just like did it on the fly,
Wow.
right on the spot. So yeah.
Instead of doing a take, you have to do a take. All right, record it, send it off to him. Nah, I don't like it. It needs this. Send it back to you. You have to record it, send it back. Now it's like, hey, on the phone. Hey, what do you think of this? Instantaneous. Boom, done.
Yeah, I think my mistake was that I thought I could do it the other way. Like I recorded the take, and so we went back and forth for like a month with different things. And then he was like always, yeah, it's almost that, but not exactly that. And it's so hard sometimes for people that are not in musicians by training to explain what they want. So he will say things like, I like what you did there, but I want it a little bit smoother. It's like, what do you mean with that? So but the Zoom meeting, we were talking for like 3 hours and we had it. It was perfect.
Modern technology.
Yeah.
You're on your cell phone with your computer and your keyboard right there, and you get it done.
That was it.
Now, I wanted to ask this question because I know you do your composing, I know you do your teaching. Do you ever get together with some, colleagues and just play?
Yeah, not as much as I would like because I have a family too, and there's not a lot of time. But yeah, one of the nice things is in the school I work for, I'm also the accompanist, so I get to play with all the little kids that play other instruments, and I get to meet all the other teachers, and that's great because usually pianists we live in a world of our own. Just play on your own, do your concert, and you don't see anyone else. But doing this, I get to meet so many other people that I get asked to play in recitals. Like, oh, can you play with me in this recital? And then that's a really nice thing too. So.
Doesn't matter the type of music, everybody wants to jam.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's classical, rock, country. Everybody, you play your position, you play your musician, or your instrument, but you always want to have some accompaniment. You want to have some camaraderie. So that's good. Even if you can't do it all the time, obviously with your commitments, once in a while, it's still nice to just cut loose and have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so different when you're playing with people, like you're reacting to what they do. Even classical music, it's not even, you have the page and you have to follow that page, but you are always reacting, and there's this communication, and it's a lot more fun than just doing it on your own. So, yeah.
It's a subtle communication. The music is the communication as opposed to speaking. And you just follow their lead, they follow yours, and it's beautiful. That sounds great.
Yeah.
So tell us, where people can find out more about you if they're interested in being in one of your classes. B, if they have a need for a composer, maybe they're doing a local commercial or something national. I said national. So tell us where everybody can find you, websites, etc.
Yeah, my website is right there. I think Manuel Garcia-Baro is my full name.com. I'm on SoundCloud too with the same name. If you look for it on SoundCloud, and then I teach. What I teach is I said it before, Community Music Center of Boston, CMCB. So I think they are opening registration right now for the fall, so you're welcome to go check them out. I think the website is cmcb.org. Yeah, cmcb.org. And yeah, I think that's the contact information you need.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you very much for being on the show, Manuel. We'll definitely be listening to the commercials. I'm going to have a different ear when I'm listening now to see, But yeah, you'll have to stay in touch so we can find out more about what's going on with you. And I wish you the best, and your class, and more of those big national commercials. Make some money.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.
And for everybody else, thank you. That was another edition of Around Foxborough. My name is Mark Rivard. Have yourself a great day.